Sheshaba Sangira Sange Je koi da bilas Sheshaba Sangira Sange Je koi da bilas Sesangana paya kande narotamadas kande narotamadas Sesangana paya kande narotamadas paya kande narotamadas Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen?
Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Utaya Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanbitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. We will Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Dyatyaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at His lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Varshavanavi Devi Daitya Dāsa. This is another name of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is favored by Srimati Radharani and who is the ocean of transcendental mercy and the deliverer of the signs of Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the personified energy of Sri Chaitanya's mercy, who deliver devotional service which is enriched with conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, coming exactly in the line of revelation of Srila Rupa Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the personified teachings of Lord Chaitanya. You are the deliverer of fallen souls. You do not tolerate any statement which is against the teachings of devotional service enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. The sunrise and the sunset, both are beautiful. Similarly, both the appearance and the disappearance of a Vaishnava are beautiful. So there is no cause of lamentation. These are the words spoken by our Srila Prabhupada when he observed Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance in Surat along with his disciples, and they first arrived in India. As Abhay Charan, he said, here is the right person who can take up Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and now it will be distributed. So, our Prabhupada used to be the leader amongst his group of friends, and as we all know, he was dragged to meet Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then later on he was asked opinion, and this was the opinion he gave. Here is the right person who has taken up Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, and now it will be distributed. Thanks. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Sachi Sutta Priya Ati Krishna Sebhya Jara Tulanai Se Mahanta Guru Jagatere Madhya Uru Krishna Bhakti Deya Thai Thai Tara Icha Balavan Parshaite Tan Tan Hoi Jate Gaurangera Nam Prithvite Nagaradi Asamudra Nadi Nadi Sakale Bore Krishna Ram. This is a song written by Srila Prabhupada himself. It begins with Krishna Tava Punya Have Bhai, where he glorifies Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So the translation goes like this. Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is very dear to Lord Gauranga, the son of Mother Sachi, is unparalleled in his service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He is that great saintly spiritual master, say Mahanta Guru, most magnanimous within this universe, who bestows devotion to Krishna in various places. So Krishna Bhakti Deya Thai Thai. In various places throughout the world, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving the mercy of Lord Gauranga. So, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's desire is very powerful, and thus he is causing the holy name of Lord Gauranga to spread throughout all countries of the Western world. In all the cities and towns and villages on the earth, extending to all oceans, rivers and streams, everyone may chant the names of Krishna and Rama. Prithivite Nagaradi Asamudra Nada Nadi. So these are the words of glorification our Prabhupada offers to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Even from his young age, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur showed signs of a sadhu. The signs within the physical body are manifest through parts like the nose, arms, chin, eyes and the knees, and also fingertips, teeth. Different descriptions are there, and these signs were present even when he was a young boy. And we also know that he was born with the umbilical cord across his body, indicating his divine appearance. So these great souls they are not forced to enter this material world just like us. Bhagavatam describes karmana daiva netrena jantur dehopapatteye. Under the supervision of the divine, the living entity is forced to enter into the semen of the male and then takes birth in the womb of the mother. These are exalted personalities. They are deputed by the Lord to come to this world for a specific purpose, and that's why we call their birth and death as appearance and disappearance. They live forever. And as Prabhupada already told, appearance and disappearance are the same, just for the sun. The sun appears to arise and set, but it is for our vision. The sun is always present. Bhaktivedanta Thakur trained Bimal Prasad. As we all know, that's the name. Initially it was given to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He trained Bimal Prasad, and their house was known as Bhakti Bhavan. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur was publishing Sajjana Toshini at that time. So at that time he was engaging Bimala in all the aspects of printing, publishing, editing, proofreading, typesetting, and even operating the machines. So Bimala learned the mechanics of the press, and he had a detailed knowledge of all the components and could diagnose and repair any equipment that's not functioning. So that training was given to him right from the young age. So it is imperative for us to get the necessary skills and knowledge that is required for us to propagate the Sankirtan movement, and that's how Bhaktivedanta Thakur is sowing the seed of making sure that the publications which were there in the leaves and various forms and manuscripts has to be taken into, put into print. And he had that vision, and he is starting to train Bimala Prasad. He also gave some translation work to his son so that he can also get equipped with the language of Sanskrit, for which Bimal Prasad was sent to the college, where he learned the Sanskrit and the different angas of the Vedic knowledge Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur picked up, which includes pronunciation, which is the Siksha, procedures for performing various activities, which is the Kalpa, then the grammar, Vyakarana, then the word meanings, nirukta, the meter, chanda, and one which is famous, he is known for, the astrology and astronomy, Jyotisha. So his teachers, actually seeing Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's great knowledge in astrology and astronomy, after he translated the two major works, Surya Siddhanta and the other major work, due to that he was given this title Sri Siddhanta Saraswati. So that's when Vimal Prasad becomes Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, and he got the title when he was just 15 years old. In his young age, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not show much eagerness in the worldly activities. He was more towards reading devotional scriptures, and even going to the college and doing all those activities, he was more into the spiritual side. There's an interesting incident that at home, when sometimes he will pretend to do the homework, but he will keep the devotional literatures below his desk and will keep reading them. And one time his relative found out and then started to chastise. But although he seemed to be not studying so much, but he came out in good colors and he was able to achieve which others could not achieve in many years. And that's why sometimes when he learnt all the Vyakarana, Nirukta and all that quickly, the Chanda, the teachers were surprised that, oh, you should be practicing this more. But he became expert at it and he didn't feel the need to practice that more, but internally he was reading the works which his father is publishing, and some of the confidential literatures he did not want to translate, and Bhaktivedanta Thakur did not want the Gita Govinda and other works to be published, because Bhaktivedanta Thakur felt that it could be misused by people. So externally he was going, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was going to college and all that, but internally he was cultivating this mood of strong devotion, and his father also made him to chant. He gave him the Kurma Shila to worship, and then he gave the Kurma mantra and the Narasimha mantra also. Now one may think that because he's got too much into spirituality, he would not mingle with the common men when he was in the college. But contrary to that, he was dressed like a young sophisticate with a white dhoti and nice garments in his upper body and wearing a chadar in the winter. And he will mingle with the students, he will mingle with the Englishmen and others who come to the Bhakti Bhavan, that's their home. And during the college breaks, he would discuss with them informally about religion, about politics, about current affairs and similar topics. So he did not want to be totally away from the society. He was willing to mingle and talk with them. And his courage was so much that if some of the Western professors were trying to put down the Hindu religion and trying to say that the Christianity is better, like he would not tolerate that. He would not tolerate any conclusions which is against the Shastras, and he will boldly tell them that it's wrong. So he has got this bodily features and he has got this scholarly aptitude, and is now guided by his father also. And this is a stage where Bhaktivedanta Thakur asks him to go and take Diksha from. Who did he take Diksha from? Gaurkishodas Babaji. So if you see the contrast here, here is a very scholarly person, born in a family of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, knowing all the skills to debate, Vyakarana, grammar, Nirukta, Jyotisha, and he is given the title. But then he is asked to get Diksha from Srila Gaurakishodas Babaji. Externally, who looks in simple clothing, not an erudite scholar, but still Bhaktivedanta Thakur wanted him to get Diksha from Gaurakishodas Babaji. So as we all know, many times Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur approached his guru and asked for Diksha, and Gaurakishodas Babaji rejected, saying, once one disciple came and then he cheated me, so I won't give Diksha to anybody. But Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur insisted and went several times. And then he got turned away saying, oh, I'll ask Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu tells me I'll give you. Then next time Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati goes and asks, did you ask Mahaprabhu? No, I forgot about it. I didn't ask. Then the third time, did you ask? I asked, but Mahaprabhu said no. So at that time, he was so devastated that he started to plead, and this Gurudev Kripa Bindudiya, that song where he says, if you don't show me mercy, I won't live. So these are the words from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself. This is his recollection of that incident. When out of false ego I was thinking, I am a great scholar of mathematics and philosophy. Let any big Pandit come at any time, day or night, I will cut his proposition to pieces. At that time, I got the darshan of the lotus feet of Sri Gurudeva. He ignored everything that was previously appreciated in me. My truthfulness, my moral, pious life, my intellectualism, knowing them to be of little value. When I saw that he ignored whatever was good in me, I realized how good he himself must be, who could neglect so many of those good qualities in me. What inconceivable wealth he possessed. So this was the time when, knowing the popularity of Siddhanta Saraswati, many others were wanting him to become their disciple. And sensing that Siddhanta Saraswati did not want that, and he approached Gaurakishodas Babaji, and after rejections several times and after persisting, then he was given the shelter of Srila Gaurakishodas Babaji. So we'll continue with the reflection of Bhaktisiddhanta. I had considered my Gurudeva to be unequalled in Vairagya, but somewhat short of learning. But he reduced to powder my audacity born of book learning. With the mallet of his mercy, he revealed that whatever I had adjudged to be highest ideal was in fact most low and despicable. When by his grace that instruction first entered my ears, my diminutive brain lacked the capacity to accommodate such transcendental knowledge. But to all fools like me, he gave the chance to hear such lofty topics. So this is the conception of how Bhaktisiddhanta viewed his Guru Maharaj and how his vision, attitude changed. Then he gets a rare blessing which normally others don't get. So Gaurakishodas Babaji would not allow anybody to touch his feet. But at one instance, he himself voluntarily placed his feet on the head of Bhaktisiddhanta and gave him the order. Preach the absolute truth, keeping aside all other activities. So this was a great blessing Bhaktisiddhanta gets. And he gets the instruction. This is a reflection by Bhaktisiddhanta. My Gurudev mercifully told me, reject your knowledge, purity, aristocracy and come close to me. Don't go anywhere. Whatever you require, as many rooms, houses, palaces and mansions, as much scholarship, skills, self-control, renunciation, you will get. Simply come close to me. Then Gaurakrishna Babaji is describing the attitude of an attached person. Let there be a house, let there be an entrance, and let there be some learning. So he says, do not be enamored by this type of thinking. Do not consider as necessities that which an ordinary person may accept as such. So the essence of this is, first you get the instruction that preach the absolute truth, keep aside all the other activities. Second is, come close to me, means here it's not about physical proximity, as later on in because the things I'm reading from is the Bhaktisiddhanta Vani Vaibhav, where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did not always stay very in close proximity with his Gurudev. After getting instructions, he goes to the other side of the river and starts the actual work. So, when Gaurakrishna Babaji is saying, come close to me, it's the instructions. And then he says, don't go anywhere and whatever you require. So, as we know that in future, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is going to start Gaudiya Math, which is going to expand, and where he is going to buy big houses, palaces and mansions. And here his Guru is giving this benediction that you come close to me, preach the absolute truth, keep aside all other activities, whatever you require will come to you. Scholarship, self-control. Simply come close to me. So, this is the power of the blessings of the spiritual master, and we can see this parallel to how when our Prabhupada as Abhay Charan was entering the room to meet Bhaktisiddhanta for the first time, straight away he and his friend gets the instruction that you are well versed in English, why don't you preach the knowledge, teachings of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world? And later on it became true. So we can see that the spiritual master is able to see the present and also the future, and they are able to give the potency through their instruction and empower their disciples. So Gaurakishore Das Babaji also gave 3 more instructions which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur may seem to have disobeyed. So let's see what that is. So this is spoken by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati himself during the disappearance in the Samadhi of Gaurakishore Das Babaji on the 29th of March 1933. That time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati reveals 3 instructions which his Guru Maharaj gave. First one, not to make any disciples. First instruction. Second, not to associate with anyone. Third, not to go to the world of Maya, which means Kolkata. So in that talk, Bhaktisiddhanta affirmed that how he followed and also did not follow. For the first one, Bhaktisiddhanta said, he did not make disciples. Those who considered themselves as his disciples were in fact his gurus. For by observing their ideal inclination for Hari Seva, his own tendency for Seva increased. So technically he did not make disciples, but he saw his disciples to be his guru. Second is he did not associate with anyone. Association means to accept something from others, but he accepted only that which was given by his Guru Maharaj. So as his fame grew, a lot of things came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, but he did not accept all of them, but he took what is required, and whatever was given to him, he took that it's coming from his Guru and used it in Krishna's service. He never went to Kolkata, so this is the third instruction, don't go to the world of Maya, which Gaura Das Babaji refers to. Kolkata itself is as Maya. Then consider Melbourne and Sydney and so Bhaktisiddhanta never went to Kolkata, but he went only to the Gaudiya Math, which, although situated in Kolkata, was actually Vaikuntha, without the dullness and the influence of Kali. So, this is how Bhaktisiddhanta fulfilled the initial instructions that he got. What was the instruction initially he got from his Guru? Is preach the absolute truth, keeping aside all other activities. Although he may have seemed to be disobeying the later three instructions, but he is actually keeping the initial instructions that he got when Gaura Das Babaji put his feet on his head and gave him the instruction, preach the absolute truth. So this point that we can understand is to understand the essence of the instruction and the principle, and then take into consideration what they actually intend to say, and then follow that accordingly, and not to misinterpret and follow them word to word or try to imitate them. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was very much against people who were trying to imitate Gaura Das Babaji, keeping a skull or staying in places like the toilet, and he was totally against it, and he said it is good to follow the mood of a spiritual teacher rather than imitating them. One is Anukarana and one is Anusmarana. Forgot which one is which, but it's not to imitate what they're doing exactly, but to understand the mood and take the essence and implement it. And it's also interesting to note that he is getting, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is getting instructions from Bhaktivedanta Thakur also, and instructions from his Diksha Guru. So some scenarios it seemed to be a bit contradicting when Bhaktivedanta Thakur wanted him to go to Calcutta and print and publish books, whereas Gaura Das Babaji did not want him to go. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur assured that wherever I am going and wherever the glories of the Lord is sung, that place becomes Vaikuntha, and there won't be any influence of Kali. And this is how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was able to manage kind of contradicting instructions from different authorities, and he did not he did not stop following the instructions, saying that it's all contradictory, so I won't do either one of those. So he was able to get the essence and still follow it. Later on, when Bhaktivedanta Thakur and Gaurakishore Babaji leaves the world, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is seeing a good potential for preaching, and at that time only he takes this crucial decision of taking up sannyas order. So his father was not present physically, his Guru Maharaj was also not present physically, and there were no god brothers of his Guru Maharaj. So taking into consideration all this, keeping a picture of his Guru, he took sannyas. Again, this is not to be imitated, and it is a very rare exception, and he is such an exalted person. And before taking that, as you might know, he also took a vow to chant, I think, 1 million names of Krishna, Hare Krishna mantra. So he did that sitting in Navadvip, and while he was doing that, he was also engaging in printing books. He took up those major projects of printing books. And when he saw that there's a good potential for him to go out and preach, and that's when, for that purpose, he took the sannyas order. So in terms of printing books and the printing projects that he took up, the first big project was that to get the publications of his own father up and running and going, which he started to continue the Sajjana Toshani. So Toshani means that which satisfies, and Sajjana means gentleman. So the topics of Krishna are the one which will satisfy the people in general, the gentleman. That's what Sajjana Toshani means. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati continued to write and publish. That's the first project. And the second one is the writings of the Goswamis and the literature which are very relevant from the Gaudiya Vaishnava point of view. He did not want them to be lost. In fact, some of them were, because when he tried approaching some of the Goswamis in the other temples about Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentaries, they said it became too old and then it was put in the Yamuna river. So he did not want that to happen. So as a sense of urgency, he started to collect the teachings of the Goswamis and the literature very specific to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and he started to put that into print. And for that purpose, he had to go to Kolkata, rent a place, and find a printing press. And at that time, for a sadhu to go to a place like Kolkata, buy a property and set up a printing press, and it was totally unheard of. And he broke that stereotype mentality for getting the publications of the Goswamis out, and that was his objective. And there was a period when the printing press he was not able to sustain. That's when he decided to take printing orders from outsiders also. There was a time where they could not maintain the press, so then they started to get orders for outsiders to come and print their materials also. Then he was able to run the press and continue his publication. He was able to get enough Lakshmi to rent more properties and fight out some of the litigations that were there. So one major incident where the extent to which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took the printing press and the respect that he gave, that was during the 1914. He called the printing press as the Bhagavata Yantra. So they had to move out from Krishnanagar to other places, and in one such time he installed the printing works in the Sachidananda Mutt, and the print, we would have thought, okay, he would have kept the printing press in a separate place, but he kept it right next to the side of the deities. So by that he is emphasizing that the Pancharatrika path, which is the Archana path, and the Bhagavata path, which is based on Shravanam, Kirtanam, which includes preaching. So he considered printing books and giving out also as a sign of Shravanam, Kirtanam, publishing, Bhagavat Mark. So they had to be conducted simultaneously. So for that reason he kept the printing press close to the deities. These are his own words. The press building, the printing machine, and the composing materials should not be considered mundane. Everything here, even the bricks and pillars, are aprakrita, non-different from Krishna. And as we all know, the concept of Brihat Mridanga, and he's pioneered in taking up this concept of publishing books and sending it out, whereby the message will be spread not just in one room, where the sound of Mridanga is restricted to one room, whereas when the books go out, it goes far and wide, and then the message is heard, and when a lot of people read the message and take it up, and that's when the message of Lord Chaitanya will be spread. So even when trying to print books, he did not want the bigger books to be given out for free. So he made sure that people pay the proper price for it. Whereas when it came for the periodicals, even when some of the members who were supposed to pay for it, when they defaulted, he did not insist so much on getting the money. He said that can be given. So with the bigger books, he wanted not to take them very lightly, so he wanted people to pay for it. But for the periodicals, he was willing to give them even when people did not pay for it. That's how the Brihat Mridanga section of the book talked about how he got the initial training by his father, and the mood and the right content to publish, and when there was nobody to write, he himself stepped up, took up the role of a writer, and used all the proficiency that he acquired along with the potency of the instructions by his Diksha and Siksha Guru to take it forward. And that's when the institution of Gaudiya Math also started to grow far and wide within India. And as the institution grew, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not have enough time to personally look at all the proofreading, but he still made sure that he spent some quality time in that. He did not want to neglect that. And he also made more disciples, and as his mood is that he saw them as his own gurus. Now the expansion of Gaudiya Math is not without problems. So he describes that as a part of collecting funds from outside, his disciples had to mingle with the people who are materially minded, and slowly that mentality also creeped into the Math. And there were one section of his disciples who were like the go-getters and movers and the shakers. So they go out, collect funds, and they meet the top people in the society, make them as members. And then there is another section of his disciples who were very strong in their sadhana and very proficient in the shastras and their own bhajan. Then these two sections started to see each other looking down upon each other. The go-getters and the achievers were thinking that these people are just sitting in the mud and then they were not doing much practical service, whereas those who were sitting in the mud and doing the sadhana and the reading and all that, they felt that these people are too worldly minded. And then so the division started to happen even when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was there. And during and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati could sense that, and towards the end also he was indicating, and in one of a crucial meeting with Abhay Charan Das in Radha Kund, that's when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is talking to our Srila Prabhupada, and he is revealing his heart as to how earlier, when there was not much property in Gaudiya Math, things were going okay, but now there's so much of property and there is a lot of internal rivalry among the disciples. And then that's when Bhaktisiddhanta said this famous words that Agun Jwalve. What does that mean? There will be fire in the mud. The fire of party interest will soon take over, and it was at that time that Bhaktisiddhanta gave this grave blessing and the instruction that if you ever get money, print books. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is sensing that he is going to wind up his pastimes. And in fact, while reading that section, Bhaktisiddhanta is saying, my lifespan is reduced seeing the conflict among my disciples. It has reduced up to 10 years. I wanted to do more, but seeing these party interests and conflicts among my disciples, he was so disgusted at the later stage. And he started to indicate that he is going to wind down his pastimes in several of his lectures. And he said that one has to give up his body or let this body as a sacrifice while doing or while propagating the Harikatha. And just to keep up the words, he himself delivered a series of 16 lectures about the theism and the philosophy, and he himself showed by example. During the last days, he was afflicted with fever, and still he was asking his disciples, Kunja Bihari Prabhu and other disciples, to continue the Harinam Sankirtan around him. And that's when he gives a lot of instructions also. He is speaking in the mood of an exalted Uttamadhikari, where he is even trying to say that, these are his own words, I have upset many persons' minds. Many might have considered me their enemy because I was obliged to speak the plain truth of service and devotion towards the Absolute Godhead. I have given them all those troubles only so that they may turn their face towards the personality of Godhead. So this is his mood, and And he's also giving instructions about how one has to continue despite challenges. In this ephemeral sphere, you should live somehow or other only for Hari Bhajan. In spite of all dangers, criticisms and discomfort, do not give up Hari Bhajan. Don't be disappointed that most people in the world do not accept the topics of Krishna Seva. Don't forsake your own bhajan of Krishna Katha, Shravan and Kirtan, which is your all in all. We do not aspire to be any kind of heroes of karma or dharma, but our constitutional position and all in all is to, in every birth, become the dust at the feet of Srila Rupa Raghunath. There will be multiple inconveniences in this material domain. There is no need to be either overwhelmed by them or trying to overcome them. Rather, even during the duration of our life, one must be acquainted with what we shall gain by surpassing all those difficulties and only focus on our attachment to the feet of Radha and Krishna. So in those last days instruction, he also gives the important instruction about forming a governing body. And he mentions about how not to let one person manage the whole Gaudiya Math, but that the governing body has to be formed. And that's when he pinpoints each disciple and their own strengths and how he wanted them to take on their mission. So despite the fact of his instructions, as we all know, that the disciples later on did not follow what was told to them. So his health was deteriorating steadily, and on the 1st of January at about 5:20 a.m. Prabhupada Brahmachari was doing the night vigil, and he was handing over to Krishnananda Brahmachari. At that time, Bhaktisiddhanta was whispering, "Who's there?" And then this disciple was replying, "It's me." "Oh, Prabhupada Prabhu." And Prabhupada Prabhu is asking, "How are you feeling, Prabhupada?" This is to Bhaktisiddhanta. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati murmured, "Oh Krishna, oh Krishna." Hardly had Prabhupada left the room when he was called back by Krishnananda Prabhu. "Prabhupada, come quickly. It's all over." Thus, after 62 years and 10 months of manifesting unflinching devotion to Sri Sri Radha Krishna in this world, Sri Varshavanavi Daitya Dāsa rejoined them in the hour of their Nishanta Leela, pre-dawn pastimes, to their eternal cycle of daily activities in Vraja at the hour after their nocturnal sports. All the clocks in the Mata stopped simultaneously, their steady ticking soon replaced by the wailing and crying from every corner. Some devotees were sobbing as if their hearts would break. Some were chanting feverishly with eyes flooded with tears. Some swooned, simply bowed their heads and chanted Harinam. So later on, his disciples came from different parts of Calcutta, and they started doing the ceremony of bathing and putting tilak on different parts of the body, taking the body of Bhaktisiddhanta, greeting the deities, and then taken around also. So, on this day, it is important to reflect on the way Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took the instructions of his Guru and how he was persistent in getting the mercy of his spiritual master despite being turned down several times, and how he considered himself to be very fallen in front of his Guru, despite having all the bodily features, scholarly aptitude, well versed in the Shastras, being born in a big nice family, that of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. He still he gave up all that and he acted as a servant. He took the instructions of his Guru and both Siksha and Diksha Gurus, and he was able to manage them despite some apparent contradictions in them. He was able to get the essence of it and implement it. He was able to spread the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within India by establishing 64 mutts, and also empowering his Grihastha disciple at that time, Abhay Charan, with this crucial instruction of printing books and distributing books, which he himself led by example. So on this day it is good to reflect on all these, and thereby we get the blessings of the previous acharyas. I will conclude with this quote. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die, when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. So if it's okay, we can sing the Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, the song which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to be sung when that was his favorite song. So if that's okay. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.